Today, we're going to talk about a truly extraordinary mind. Someone whose brilliance just shone so brightly, even in a life that was cut tragically short. This is the story of Arindam Kumar Paul.
It's a story of just incredible potential and ultimately profound loss, and it's drawn from the memories of the people who knew him best. Okay, let's just start with this. This is a powerful statement from one of his mentors, and it's really the key to the whole story. Because to understand the scale of the loss, you first have to grasp the sheer scale of his potential. We're not just talking about a promising student here. We're talking about someone people genuinely believed could have fundamentally changed the future of science. You know, to a lot of people, he was known simply as Researcher Arindam. And that's a title he earned way earlier than anyone could have ever expected. It wasn't just a label for what he did. It really became a core part of his identity.
So this is how one of his senior colleagues described him. Not just good, not just promising, but crack level. You know, that's the kind of phrase that signals the ultimate respect. It means someone is operating on a totally different wavelength. And to really get why, we have to start with a number. Just this, the number 4. What in the world could that mean? Well, it turns out this single number is kind of the key to his entire, completely unprecedented academic journey.
That's right, 4. 4 published research papers on machine learning and data science. And he did it all before he was even halfway through his undergrad degree. I mean, think about that. This wasn't just starting early, he completely rewrote the rules for what anyone thought a student could do.
So yeah, this is where his story really starts to diverge from, the normal path. Let's dig into just how unique his journey actually was. To really put this in perspective, at most universities in Bangladesh, students might start thinking about research in their 4th year, maybe. Or perhaps when they start a master's program. Arindam, he was already deep in the game in his 2nd year. He wasn't just learning from textbooks, he was already out there, creating new knowledge. And just look at the fields he was working in. We're not talking about introductory topics here. This is seriously advanced stuff. Mathematical modeling, dynamical systems, optimal control. This is the kind of work that seasoned academics build their entire careers on. And he was just publishing in all of them, one after another. Incredible.
So the big question is, how did he do it? Well, Arindam built this remarkable intellectual toolkit for himself, and it went so far beyond just theoretical math. He had the practical, hands-on skills to actually bring all his big ideas to life. And yeah, the sources are crystal clear on this. He was a hard coder. I mean, he was fluent in the whole modern scientific computing stack. MATLAB for the intense math, Python for the machine learning, R for the stats, you name it. What this meant was there were basically 0 technical barriers standing between one of his ideas and actually making it happen.
But here's what's so important to understand. Arindam was so much more than a list of publications. His brilliance wasn't just confined to equations on a whiteboard. He was also a person of art, of mentorship, and honestly, of a really deep humanity.
You know, the word polymath gets thrown around a lot, but it just perfectly captures who Arindam was. His mind didn't stay in one lane. It was constantly drawing these incredible connections between completely different worlds.
For example, get this. His friends were just blown away to discover he could recite huge parts of this really complex 19th century Bengali epic poem completely from memory. It just shows you this deep love for literature and poetry that lived right alongside his passion for math and data.
This is just amazing. He had apparently memorized this entire epic Bengali poem. We're talking thousands of lines of really complex 19th century literature. Now think about that. To hold all of that in your mind while you're also working on, say, differential equations, it just shows a mental horsepower that could operate in completely different universes at the same time. And on top of all that, he was a dedicated communicator. He was driven to make all this complex knowledge accessible to a wider audience, and to do it in his own language. He wasn't someone who just wanted to know things for himself. He felt this deep need to share it and to apply it to huge, real-world problems facing his country, like climate change. So you see all these skills, the coding, the poetry, the teaching, but it wasn't just a random collection of talents. It was all guided by this really unique and powerful philosophy he had about learning and mentorship, one that he shared with pretty much everyone around him. He called it the globe light philosophy. He saw mathematics as this universal tool, kind of like a handheld spotlight. Once you really truly understood its core principles, you could point that light anywhere you wanted and illuminate any field: physics, coding, social science, even poetry. He didn't just believe it, he lived it. And he taught it to his juniors, empowering them with that very same idea. And if you want to see that philosophy in action, check this out.
A junior he was mentoring tells this story. They wanted to enter a competition but had no project. With only 2 days left, Arindam just told them, "Don't worry." The very next day, he hands them a fully working fake image detector that he had coded from scratch overnight. They ended up placing fourth in the whole national competition, all because of him. His intellect was matched by his generosity.
This national competition to detect deep fakes, a super complex modern problem. So he and his team, using their skills, designed, coded, and tested a working solution in 24 hours, just one day. And they placed fourth. I mean, that's the crucial point, right? This is innovation on demand, and it's a direct result of that globe light way of thinking.
So of course, the world started to take notice. After he got a PhD offer in South Korea, he aimed even higher. He didn't hesitate for a second to just email professors at some of the best universities in the world. We're talking Cambridge, Warwick, Johns Hopkins. And the amazing part? They replied. They saw his potential right away and told him to apply.
We're talking professors at the University of Cambridge and the University of Warwick. They saw his potential and were getting ready to bring him on board for his PhD.
This is a quote from a professor at the University of Warwick who was talking with Arindam about a potential PhD. He shared this after his passing. It just goes to show you, the world was absolutely beginning to recognize that a star was on the rise.
So, what was the field that had them all so excited? It was something called opinion formation dynamics. This is one of the hottest areas in applied math right now. Basically, you're using high-level mathematics to model how an idea or a belief or even a piece of fake news spreads through a social network. It's math with truly profound implications for how our society actually works.
And that, well, that makes this next part of the story all the more difficult to talk about. All of that momentum, all of that incredible, limitless potential, it all came to a sudden, heartbreaking end.
Arindam Kumar Paul was just 28 years old.
He was killed in a road accident. And in a twist that's just tragically poignant, his final publication, an article about climate change and its impact on Bangladesh, had appeared in a national newspaper only 5 days earlier. He was literally working to solve the world's problems right up until the very end.
And this, of course, is where this incredible story of rising potential takes its tragic turn. It leaves you with this just overwhelming sense of what could have been, a future that was literally right there, just about to be realized. At the absolute peak of his potential, with the world opening up to him, Arindam's life was cut short in a road accident. The loss was felt not just by his friends and his family, but by an academic community that stretched all the way across the globe. But his ideas, they persist. His work was so solid, so rigorous, that 2 more of his research articles were published internationally after his death, which is a huge testament to its quality.
But a mind like Arindam's, it doesn't just disappear. The impact he made, the people he inspired, that legacy is real, and his friends and his colleagues are making sure it lives on.
They're taking real, concrete steps to preserve everything he did. All of his work is being compiled into a single volume. The online platform he created, Mathematical Thoughts, is being carried on by the students he mentored. His life's work is becoming a guide for the next generation of researchers.
For the people he inspired, this isn't just about remembering him. It's about a duty, a responsibility to continue the work he started and to carry that spirit of fearless curiosity into the future.
The tragedy that took him is unfortunately part of a larger, persistent national danger in his country. So maybe the most fitting tribute to researcher Arindam is to turn his own globe light of mathematics onto this very problem. To use the modeling and the data analysis that he championed to understand, to predict, and ultimately to protect the future talent of his nation.
Arindam Pal's story really leaves us with this powerful question. His life was just a testament to the idea that the measure of a life isn't about its length, but about its depth and its impact. His work, his mentorship, his boundless curiosity, they've already set these waves of inspiration in motion that will no doubt continue to spread for years and years to come.